Welcome back to the podcast, Catch It, A New Perception. Please subscribe, share this with others, give it a thumbs up, make a comment or two. Help me to understand where you're at or what it is that I can do in the future with this podcast. I think about the repetition that I sit with today and how repetition has been good for me. I know some people don't care much for repetition, and other types of repetition maybe a little more so. And it's interesting because I think about how I'm moving forward. This podcast, I've really my hope of the podcast is that it can bring hope to other people, that it can help someone change, that it can resonate with someone, that they have the ability to be able to see the world different, to feel different, to think different. And that's a process. For me, it was a big process. And I needed a lot of repetition through that. And one of the ways was some of the elders that I've sat with would say the same thing. I sit with an elder today and he reminds me of my ego. He doesn't speak of my egotism, he speaks of his egoism. And I know that he can see it in me at times, and he's trying to help me to be centered, to be balanced. And that repetition I need. I need people to continue to remind me to stay level, to stay balanced. What are the checks and balances we go through in this lifetime? How do we continue to do this? We begin to get to know our higher selves. Is that enough? A beginning? Or do we want more? Do you want to delve into something so deep that every day you realize you are getting to know your higher self more and more? Somewhat because of the repetition, the yoga, the meditation, whatever that may be. If you're prejudiced against those words of yoga and meditation, I stretch and I sit quiet. And to me, those are things that make sense to me. I happen to use specific words defining it somewhat, using the term transcendental meditation, something that I do. I was guided to do this twice a day, every day. That terminology, sometimes people distance themselves from. Meditation or yoga, they distance themselves from it and don't realize they do. They have disdain towards it. That's okay. I don't. Like I said, if you're prejudiced against these words, I stretch and I sit quiet. How is it that I take an action to be able to think different? And one of the reasons I'd love to talk about this much, much more on this podcast, because this is the essence of how this started, why it started, and what this podcast was about from the beginning, is to catch a new perception. And how do I do that? I recognize myself here as Ketuk. I move through life with another name. I do traditional tribal ceremonies by another name. What we do is not who we are. Who we are is the essence of what's inside of us. How do we change that if we need to? How do we keep it the same if we need to? When we were on a journey, I was on a journey where I was not knowing how to get to know my higher self. I had a repetition in my life that was there every day. I would continue to do the same things every day. And I never reached outside of myself to find my higher self. I know I have to go in. I have to honor all 7 directions. I get it. I also have this process to be able to take an action. I wake up and I ask the Creator to guide my thoughts, my words, and my actions. I ask that I be of service to everyone I meet. If you don't like the term Creator, understand what it is that you do know. I believe that we pray to the same deities if we do something called prayer. Some people may say they're in thought, they're in contemplation. Someone else may do the exact same thing and call it prayer. Someone else may do the exact same thing and call it meditation. The terminology is not important to me. It's the essence of the action that is important to me. That I can sit quiet. That I can do something I call prayer. I can do something I call meditation. I can get connected to self so I can be connected to that great mystery that I call the Creator. When I take a certain action and I do certain things, a repetitive action that I'm used to doing every day, and I get good results, I should maybe continue to do those things. I begin to think different. When I would wake up in the morning and roll up a joint and look for that first shot of tequila, or I wake up in the morning and I do some prayer and meditation, my actions are different at that point. I need to be able to continue to take the actions that get me where I need to be, because it will change my way of thinking into a way that my thinking needs to be. The essence of this is to change the way I think, because my thinking will dictate how I feel. And how is it I want to feel today? I'd like to be at peace. I'd like to feel love. I'd like to feel respect. I'd like to feel dignity. I'd like to feel honor. Those are all things that I can have in a given day if I take the action to be able to do it. And sometimes that action is to get outside of myself, to reach out to another human being. What is it that I can do for someone else that will help them, show them love, show them respect, show them dignity? And what do I benefit from that? Where is hope in this? Am I offering hope to another human being? Truly, the idea that I have is that I will one day offer hope to someone who did not have it. I recently had contact with a man. He commented on one of my episodes. I was actually talking about him and didn't know who he was at the moment. And he commented, he didn't use this terminology. He relayed a message that I maybe offered him some hope that he needed on that given day. It may have created a ripple effect I did not see coming. I often don't. If I go into something thinking I'm going to, I have the answer for this person and I can help this person and, I'm going to be this person, whatever that is, probably doesn't go very well. But when I share my experience with somebody, that I've been down in that hole, I've been down on the ground, I have been kicked to the curb. I felt like I was less than, like I didn't measure up. I'm not cool enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not tough enough. You seem to have advantages in this world, I don't. I have felt those ways. Probably because of things that I had brought on and the actions that I was taking at the time. I get it. Today I don't feel or think that way. Today I realize that if I want to be able to take a different action and do something good for myself, and do something good for another human being, reach outside of myself and see what someone else needs, often just a conversation, just a smile, allow someone to see it different. Make an approach, bring a smile out in someone else, and then thank them. That's an action I did not know how to take. And I got results that were horrible when I didn't know how to treat people. I'm not saying I always do today. And I don't do it to cater to them. I do it because I honestly believe what I see. And sometimes I see potential that someone doesn't see in themselves. So I offer them the idea that I was once where they're at, and they could maybe move to a different place. They may have to take some different action so they can think different, and ultimately they will feel different. I did. I believe that our thinking has dictated how we felt every moment of our lives, and the action that we took as a very infant child when we were crawling on the floor and we put our right hand out before our right knee, before our left hand. That action dictated the way that I was thinking and what I would do from that moment forward, which one I would move next. I had no idea what was happening. I didn't know what was being created. All of a sudden, I moved my left hand forward, and now things are in motion. I know I have much to learn. As I've said many times, I come into this lifetime to teach and to learn. And what it is that I am to teach is none of my business. I'm here to share my experience. That's why I do this podcast, in the hope that I will offer hope, in the hope that someone will see it that needs to, that you share this podcast with somebody that may need to change their way of thinking, change the action that they're taking, and know that some of us that live different today once lived a lot like they did. I get it. My past, I had some drinking and drugs in it and things that weren't as good for me. Weed always seemed to take me back to other things. Weed always allowed me to stay stuck. I couldn't get to know my higher self because I was still living in an illusion. That may not be true for everyone. I know it was true for me. So I'll do my very best to leave the things behind that I don't need, to find a way to be able to create the repetition I need to be able to continue to think the way that I do, to be free of my old way of thinking so that I'm free to have a new way of feeling about myself, about others, about you, about me. I want to change all of it. I was asked to observe everyone and judge no one, observe everything and judge nothing. That includes myself. And when I say don't judge, I mean don't condemn. I need to find a way to not condemn myself. I need to find a way to not condemn you. Observe everyone, judge no one. Observe everything, judge nothing. I will do my best to create observation in a given day and to walk through life offering love, hope, offering to the best of my ability friendship, kindness, a smile. I know that we will change the world together. The more that we walk together, and the more we coincide, and the more we realize we are alike, we will continue to change the world. It gives me hope, no matter how many people are listening to this podcast, how few viewers I may have in a given week. It gives me hope that one person might get something out of it, and they may change the world. They may be touching someone that touches someone else, that has a conversation with someone else that changes the world. I don't know where this started, and I don't know where it's going. What I do know is that I have more dignity and respect for myself than what I did in the past. I show more love and honor than I have in a long time. And I will continue to be able to do the same. Looking forward to next time. Live in harmony with and use the bounty of the land to bring kindness to the world. Doksha, okay?